Here we go for another rock and roll on the road. It is Monday, so I'm gonna commence with my gratitude, grateful, thankful. My rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and got some coffee, not much left, and going towards the sunset. And gotta say my gratitude, grateful, thankful that I did three loads. It took me about 5 hours plus, almost 6 hours to do three loads of laundry. So gotta say my gratitude for the laundry machine, because before I used to do it at our laundromat, where you can see it in the past videos, the laundromat in the neighborhood. So although I utilize electricity, I'm not spending any money on that. So that's a little bit of saving on a little bit of that money. So today, encouraging all to work out, train, exercise. Working out, training, exercise has been, is, shall continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. On the march with push-ups, hog squats. Yours truly, Aspie, artist, athlete, philosopher, geopolitical, theoretical, analyst, and theorist. On the march towards the sunset. The sunset now rises and now sets, and we established the principle for the autumn and winter that if do not reach the mountain by 3 o'clock, here gotta turn my head left or right, because of course it's possible for the cars to not have a stop when the brakes malfunction and the citizen driver presses the accelerator. So it's always good to double check. Turn your heads left or right. And of course, as an Aspie, got that HFA, high functioning autism, I have a tendency to stare too much at objects or people, or maybe I'm a bit obsessed about public security in many ways, the public transit as I go. Of course, I always encourage all the times for citizens to turn their heads left or right, because what about that solar flare, and the brakes can malfunction potentially. And when I am in the public now, I got added responsibilities, duties, and obligations, which I do not have under the normal circumstances of life. If I would have stayed in my room, opposite temple, which is the lair of the dragon, I would have not had the same opportunity, the same obligations, duties, and responsibilities I am now in the public. And look at those beautiful clouds. Got to give a salutation to Goddess, G-O-D-D-S-S, till the month of Scorpio. We're going to begin a new series tomorrow. Today we're just going to freestyle. I got to give a shout out to the greatest person I know, anonymous friend, who already proposed, going to propose again, and gifted a few rings, going to gift another one. Let's go. Support a dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, which is my dream fundamentally, for a public-private partnership across the collective North American Civilizational Complex, across the collective North American Civilizational Complex, across North American Civilizational Complex. As I go, of course, gotta salute those who are gonna pick up the garbage. Public sanitation workers, LOV, Rainbow Dragon, got that Rainbow Dragon hugs with some rock and roll for those in the machines who are gonna put that brains and muscle. Gonna load it up in those trucks, gotta clean up in the streets. It's Monday, so in my neighborhood, of course, it is Monday, NDG, Notre Dame de Grâce. My neighborhood is 100,000 people, so my neighborhood is like a big city in Metropolis Island, Hawk Island, Montreal, second most populated city in Canada, top 10 in the North America. This is the 7th or 8th. So here, before I cross the street, I gotta turn my head left and right. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna try to get more sun, and now I can pass safely, because there's a stop sign there, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the stop is actually respected. And in some cases, you never know, the brakes can malfunction. So it's a double, it's the individual, the driver, citizen driver, and the citizen pedestrian like myself, who's going on a march, always dancing with a little bit of rock and roll for those today. Pick up the garbage, it's every Monday, and of course pick up the recycling in the morning. So 2 services on a Monday, plus on the Tuesdays, of course, the compost. I got 3 services. I gotta get a little bit of salutation to the truckers. Always thinking when I'm on these marches, as a philosopher, artist, athlete, geopolitical, theoretical, analyst, and theorist, and yours truly, mystic. Always with my head immersed, doing 24/7 geopolitics, because that's what Asperger's people, the Aspies, are. We have obsessive interests, and those obsessive interests preoccupy most of our day and nights, and it's kind of 24/7, and we're involved in those activities more or less at any given point in time. But of course, now I gotta turn my head left or right if I cross the street for that safety. Gotta play, and be safe and play. Freedom gotta be ensured, Today I'm just financially struggling. My only stress today is financial struggle. Besides that, I'm okay. Besides financial stress, I'm okay, I gotta say. Although my rent's paid my rent, electricity bill's paid, got food and coffee, and I'm open for business. And you know, Aspies, those who are like myself with HFA, high functioning autistics, we have strengths. And I predicted what's happening now back in 2019. I got proof of that work at the video online from October 2019, where I predicted an international conflagration based on a similar scenario that's unfolding now. Similar parameters of analysis in geopolitics, you know, that's one of my trinity of obsessive interests, parallel with rock and roll and fitness. Dancing is my favorite sport. I can say dancing is my favorite sport, but I'm obsessed about sports and fitness, and I've been on a fitness journey ever since I crossed Canada 2017. Give me some push-ups. Say LOV, some push-ups with me. Say LOV. Firefighters, LOV to the firefighters. Somebody got to make some good loving to the firefighters tonight. To the bakers, the butchers, the electricians, the plumbers, the welders. All those, it's not all about Wall Street. Wall Street got about 44 minutes left, about 44 minutes to buy, sell. Please give 10%. Mayonnaise business. As a matter of fact, I would have loved to have 44 billion. Look at that beautiful sky. That's the GODDSS temple right there. That's the goddess temple right there. I'm just a piece of dust, Look at that majesty. Sometimes we gotta humble ourselves before nature and work in concordium with their abilities and work in concordium to earn safety. And your North Americans here unite. And I would have loved to have 44 billion. 44 billion is 44,000 million. I would have taken 10%. Of course, 10% is 4.4 billion. 44 billion, 10% of 44 billion is 4.4 billion. That is 4,400 million. I would have went incognito with a hoodie on, second-hand clothes, and I would have went distributed to people, 50,000 Canadian, 44,718 US, 44,718 US, 44,718 US, and 50,000 to homeless people, vets, you know, that I would have said, this is my redemption, this is your second chance. Black, white, or brown across Canada, US, because I was born in the United States 3 times. Twice I was served in the United States Army, 156 years apart, and once I was born, of course, as a woman. Now you get that 50-50 androgynous. Oh, I gotta get it for that XYZ, and gotta get it for that LOV, and gotta get it for my children there safely in the streets and smiling a little bit. And I got out of the way, I deviated so that they have the hope and pedestrian walkway and their joy, you know. They're joyous, I'm joyous. If they're joyous, I'm joyous, you know. If I'm joyous, if they're joyous and safe, I'm safe and joyous, you know. I live a simple, austere, severe 21st century rainbow dragon Spartan-like lifestyle, you know. I created my own workout training program system, which I designed back in 2019 to be effective, simple, and efficient. And I'm a centrist, pro-labor, I love your revolutionary centrist, who's written a thesis, presented my thesis to the people, to North Americans, because I say North Americans unite, support the dream. My dream fundamentally is a call for public-private partnership across the collective North American civilizational complex across North America, a public-private partnership across the collective North American civilizational complex for the dream, the dancing goddess, and the dragon kingdom. That is what it is, fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership to institutionalize the 2 complementary covenant and cooperative institutions. The Dragon Army, North American Citizen, Integree Security and Service Force, North American Security and Service Force, and the Dancing Goddess Army, to be for the environment, you know. Wow, look at that sky. Wow, look at that sky. See, I think you gotta look up to see it, but it's just like it's a perfect picture, you know. And for me, being a mystic, Telemite that 93, and so many things I don't know, I do know that I woke up a few years ago in a moldy underground place, and I survived being attacked by surprise attack, vicious surprise attack. I felt like hit my head. I dislocated my right arm was dislocated. I went to the hospital. I was out for a few days. I had my Cillian Pirate episode. Who knows, maybe because of being rainbow LGBTQ, ASPI LGBTQ, whatever it is. But I started getting my fitness, you know, and the black and white, you want to do some LOV I got. But I played that defense. like the hardball ball, and we're going to need to play that defense like that hardball ball, aka the blackout ball, aka the blackout ball, aka the blackout ball. Well, of course, my 49ers lost, of course. 49ers lost. So here we are on the I'm kind of wondering what that is about in terms of being an artist myself, but I'll have to ask the artist. I kind of like it black and white, black and white, black and white. I put a little bit of rainbow colors on it because, you know, I like my red and colors, but nonetheless, you know, sometimes we got a black and white here with that rainbow, black and white here with that rainbow, black and white here with that rainbow. For the farmers, got to give a salutation to the public transit workers across North America, public transit across North America, public transit across North America. Yeah, we got to watch it, although it's my time to, of course, do a little bit of transport as I go deep. Oops. Gonna wait a little bit here and just gonna cross and go to the other side, and gonna salute the public transportation workers, the bus drivers, the grocery store clerks, warehouse workers, port workers. You know, it's a strikes because of course there's a lot of priority, which of course the salaries have not increased according since 2020 February March when COVID hit, and COVID was really hardcore for yours too. Gonna go towards the sun, but we're gonna circumvent like that. We're gonna actually take a little bit of a detour and go. I think the sunset is starting now, so I was aiming whether to go towards the sunset by the bridge or whether to go by the sunset by the river. So by the river we went last week, so I guess we can go by the sunset by the bridge, but I gotta go do a little bit of that, you know. Gotta go use the public, so yeah. And of course, if there's the option, I'm calling for more option, but who's gonna build is the construction workers who build buildings like that. So I gotta give a salutation, LOV, to the construction workers. I'm a fan. In those steel toe boots on the crane, that labor, brains and muscle, wow. I admire big buildings like that, and it's the construction workers. So I was hearing a lot of discussions, like 5 hours, and not even one time mentioned the construction workers, you know. Finance, mortgage is fine, but hey, send some LOV to the builders, you know, to on the ground. Like I've been on the ground for the past 5 years with my marching meditation ever since, of course, I sounded the alarm and I predicted an international conflagration back in 2019 in October, because I'm an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist. And look at that sky, so beautiful. You gotta look up though, wow. Just looks like a bright orange flame, like the sun just hit a solar flare. So, well, I gotta take my glasses to really appreciate it. Take my glasses off to really appreciate the beauty of the sunset, you know, because sometimes I guess it's a bit diluted if I keep my glasses on. And I give a salutation to Bill here. This complex is public, and it's called Coffee Park. So it's actually a coffee park. So invite the leaders of the free world to have some coffee, and from here we're gonna march to the Mount Royal, where's my second home, and gonna salute the grocery store clerks, the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors. And I don't know if it's open yet, but maybe. Oh no, it's closed. Oh yeah, it's not open yet. Maybe next semester. But nonetheless, I find it's an embellishment, because that's what money is, to do things. And I would have loved to have 44 billion, would have went incognito. Oh, there's washrooms, but I'm not sure that they're open yet. Let's double check. Sometimes it's best to double check, and I need to disinfect my hands, because I don't know, microbes, bacteria, germs is something that's a little bit on the concern side. So that's closed, and this one's closed. It's kind of cool because it has a more gender neutral, and of course if there is the availability, I use gender neutral. If there's availability, I use gender neutral. If there's available, I use gender neutral, being 50-50 centrist, androgynous, pansexual, pansexual. Rainbow dragon rock and roll for the farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, public workers, warehouse workers, on those. Those who are doing a little bit of cleaning, in the nurses, teachers teaching some mathematics, some grammar to the children. I'm not gonna forget. You know who I'm not gonna forget? Those in the daycares, changing some of those diapers, LOV. You gotta say to the leaders of the free world, free world armies. Somebody who has served in the United States Army, many wars, many past lives, many incarnations, served in the United States Army twice, 156 years apart in the same U.S. Army. Different wars, and I was born 3 times post 76. We're in the USA. Just read Through a Glass Darkly by George Patton. You know, you gotta read that, meditate upon it. And I served in the United States Army. I mean, I would, of course, for defense, because I'm a North American. Quebecer Canadian who was born in the USA in past lives, previous incarnations, you know. We got a salute for the train conductors now. Always got to be keen thinking about them, and of course now how my Aspie, being that I have HFA, high functioning autism, Asperger's, being an Aspie, my mind of course transposes this event into a geopolitical analysis, and I analyze this from a strictly merely defensive position from an Asperger's point of view, to getting on the go, and the children are joyous, happy, and secure. That's what's important for me. The children are joyous, happy, and secure. And you know, I would have said, if I would have counted how many they are, how many rings, how many seats, and of course this one's going east. East is that way towards the mountain that is going east. So Bombardier, of course, building, and of course it's going east. So I'm gonna meditate from a geopolitical perspective, because that's how my mind, of course, functions. It's geopolitics 24/7. Sports, dancing is my favorite sport, 24/7, along, of course, with the study, the analysis of geopolitical theoretical analysis, and of course rock and roll. Gonna silence a bit while I cross the street here, getting a little bit of primary. Thank you. This is the pedestrian, so I gotta cross in it, so it is good here. You know, my neighborhood, that's where I used to do laundry. Right there. I showed it in past videos. I used to do laundry. So today I did laundry at home. Grateful, thankful I got my laundry machine. So gotta meditate how it was built, how this was built. Brains and muscle, builders of the world unite. North Americans unite. We got massive re-infrastructure building to do. We got a massive re-infrastructure renewal to do. And of course I always admire, but see how my Aspies, we function a bit bizarre. I'm focused on the numbers if they have a meaning and what have you. So Aspies, sometimes we focus on details which are to other people like, what is that? But we focus on certain details which kind of seem nonsensical, kind of seems like there's nothing to them, but of course there might be something to them in the terms that we focus on the go. So that is what the Aspies is. Asperger's is a neurological mental divergent condition. Asperger's, aka HFA, high functioning autism, is a neurological mental divergent condition. It makes us predisposed to obsessive interest, and those obsessive interests, like myself, now I'm putting this in a geopolitical context. So to explain what I mean by that, I'm meditating on the public transit, how it is pars with other geopolitical, perhaps, adversaries. How is it passed with, of course, geopolitical adversaries? How is it par with potential geopolitical adversaries? Perhaps at par with potential geopolitical adversaries. And how would they, if they intervene, right? Because now we're on the verge of World War III, and we took something positions, how it would be that there would be sabotage. It's possible that there will be sabotaging. It's possible that we're going to see sabotage of the public transit. It's possible. Listen, brothers and sisters, I don't want to be alarmist and fear mongering. I'm not that type of a person, you know. I'm pretty Aspie, but I'm also in geopolitics. When it comes to geopolitics, you know, I predicted what's happening now. And of course we took certain positions, which of course might be in terms of defense. What I think about defense, of course, is 24/7 in terms of the defensive methodologies. And now I'm a bit obsessed about germs, you know, and my citizen brother there, you know, he's on the lookout for the security, and we need to balance security and liberty together. And now I need to get a little bit of that, a little bit of hydration. So of course that is how my mind functions, in the trinity of my obsessive interests: 24/7 dancing, geopolitics, rock and roll. Dancing being my favorite sport, but I love fitness, I love sports, I love boxing, I love hockey, I love basketball, I love North American football. Please, NFL, National Football League, NBA, National Basketball Association, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, please reduce the cost of the tickets by 44.9%. 44.9% is my estimated calculation of the tickets to be reduced. I cannot afford it now, but my first tickets is going to be to support the Women's Hockey League. Victoire, and to buy a shirt from Victoire, a hockey jersey. It's 130 Canadian, and right now I'm financially stressed, but if you bring me the tools, permission, and I know sometimes bureaucracy, that blah, blah, I would love to paint this. It's kind of gray. Just red, green, blue, white, rainbow colors. I would paint it. I'll do the volunteering. I love to volunteering, and that's what I love. And I am weird. You know, my neurodivergence has made me encounter many obstacles in the past years, you know, plus 7 years. And I had employments I loved. I was employed few months, few weeks, you know, temporary employment with Asperger's condition, where people are understanding more and more what it is, but that's what it is with that. So anyways, we're gonna get it for the go, and I have a little bit of obsession about germs, you know, germs. I'm a bit germophobic, but I'm gonna disinfect. So I'm gonna be disinfecting, and see, because I touched it now, so now I gotta close it, and I'm gonna put it down here. I'm gonna do a little bit of rock and roll. And first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna disinfect the hands, because you know how many things I touched on the way here. So it's germs, bacteria, microbes, and of course worst case scenarios, you know. So this is Canadian disinfectant, so I'm gonna apply a disinfectant now and then I wash, and then I go, see, don't need to put much on the hand, not that much. It's kill bacteria and germs. And let's go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5 more. That's disinfectant, and now I need to wash my hands, and we'll be back. Yeah, I did wash my hands. I did already. Alrighty. Gotta be grateful, thankful for pretty hygienic, not bad, can't complain. Let's rock and roll for the public workers. Hey, they finished the labor there. Credit, because I like to credit and offer more than blah blah blah, you know. That's what Aspies do. People HFA, we like to not necessarily console verbally, but we like to put on the table some rock and roll and some feet washing, some of those tickles and scratches and kisses I got by the trillions. Thank you, public workers of the 20th century who labor, brains and muscle to make all the roads here, all the roads with a cement. Civilization is a privilege, brothers and sisters. Civilization is a privilege, and the aqueducts, and with machines like this and the brains and the muscle, cute little machines, love some machines. We need to build a lot of infrastructure renewal across the collective North American complex, and now that I'm on it, I'm discussing the DRT, and always like to check those numbers. What's the significance of that 44, 700 volts? That I know that is electrics. I know a little bit, and I know my geopolitics, rock and roll, and dancing, always dancing for the public workers, for the butchers, for the bakers, for the nurses. Somebody got a LOV, dance for the firefighter, dance for the train conductors, dance for the warehouse workers, dance for the public train conductors, dance for the farmers, dance for those who, hey, I'm not gonna forget those in the fast food, hey, flipping some burgers, hamburgers, cheeseburgers, salad. I admire. I wouldn't last a day, but yeah, I wouldn't last too much in my workouts on the mountain now also. But you can get there, anybody can get there, and I believe I can flip a burger or so for world peace. But you know, some things we just are better at than other things. I am myself mediocre at some things. I am myself mediocre at some things. At some things I am mediocre. At some things I am so-so. At some things I am average, I admit. Some things I am so-so. I am mediocre, I am average. At other things I am great, super, and excellent. Geopolitics, I predicted what's happening now back in 2019. I predicted an international conflagration based on several parameters of analysis. Basically, to make a sum up is, of course, I dictated and I said that I dictated and I said, of course, that due to the fact that many, of course, nation states, civilizations had not been able to resolve their conflicts from the 20th century, there was going to be a spillover in the 21st century. So that's what's happening in many parts of the world now. In European Union, in the European Union, of course, that's what we see. That's what we see with that. That's what we see with that. And we got to get it on the go, you know. So that's what it is. And got to salute a little bit of rock and roll for the boys and girls in blue. Smiled and nodded. I think somebody which I spoke about, I think a few years ago, and on the horses. But okay, nobody's perfect. We're individuals, you know. We're individuals. We're individuals, part of the collective. We're individuals, part of the collective. We're individuals, part of the collective, you know. We're individuals, part of the collective, and somebody gotta love them also, you know. Got a little bit of some love, eh? Some love, come on. For the boys and the girls and the rainbows in the blue. Nobody's perfect. We're individuals. We're working on racism, you know. North Americans, my brothers and sisters, blacks. 13.3% of the population of the North American civilizational complex of North America, my neighbors included, are blacks, you know. Sometimes we have subconscious things in us. Sometimes we had some experiences with certain individuals, or of a certain perplexion, of a certain inclination, of a certain color, or whatever the case may be, and we subconsciously or consciously we make associations, you know. We tend to generalize and assume and generalize, much myself included, you know, formed based on certain experiences. That's not the overall general though, it's just individual, you know, like myself, you know, because I was surprised attacked by surprise a few years ago in the Montreal metro. Fell, hit my head. I thought I was gonna die that one also, as I thought I was gonna die of COVID, because it was like death, pestilence and disease. When I had COVID was like death, pestilence and disease. When I had COVID was like death, pestilence and disease, you know. But doesn't mean that if a black gangster or somebody who was a gangster in black attacked me for whatever reason, being Asperger's or being LGBTQ, that I love to make good LOV, rainbow, black, white, and with blacks and with whites and with rainbows. I mean, I make LOV with whoever wants to make love with me. It was black men, women, white women, whatever. North America is the FRE as well. Rainbow, you know. So that's something, you know, not to generalize on certain things. We have generalizations, but we're working on it. Myself, I put on the table kisses, first and foremost by the trillions of kisses credited from the goddess. Still full moon today, last day of the full moon. Credited trillions of kisses from the goddess. I got credited trillions of kisses from the goddess. But I'm also hyper vigilant, and I played that defense. I am hyper vigilant, you know, having lived trauma, violence, have plenty of scars, and I got scars, and live with Asperger's, live with my scars, you know, and have learned to manage the symptoms now. I've learned to manage my symptoms, and that's what it is with that. And I go now towards the sunset, you know. So that's what it is, and I love that rock and roll and rap, and I love the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the grocery store clerks. I'm always thinking, meditating now in geopolitical terms as I navigate and I meditate across all the highways across North America, all the highways across North America, in parallel to my DRT, debt refusion theory, which I've discussed, and it's a paradox that I put on the table. But to finish my train of thought on racism, you know, it's possible that we have it in us subconsciously due to XYZ factors. But here in North America, at least, we made great compromises, such as we made on the great linguistic language. Here, we're 10 million Quebecers who love our French language, myself included. Rock and roll in that French, you know, French, and English. And I learned some Spanish. So if I can make an effort in that, you know, that is what it is. So we gotta get that coast to coast, ocean to ocean. And yeah, it's not only strength. We cannot base everything on strength and force and aggression. We also have to have complementary values, such as love and understanding. If somebody not making LOV now, let the nukes fly off. You know, if somebody not making love across North America, the free world, or the world, hugging, kissing, effing, you know, let the nukes fly off. What are we fighting to say for? Wall Street, they got their money. They got their billions. Please give to charity. I would have loved to have 44 billions. I would have taken 10%, 4.4 billion. I would have went in incognito. That's my message to millionaire, billionaire artists and athletes. That's my message. Go incognito. Until December 23rd, December 24th. I would have went right after Donald Trump was elected, because I would have voted for Kamala. I would have voted Kamala, but I would have, of course, went incognito, and I would have got it 50,000 to homeless veterans. Said, this is your second chance. You can rent a room, rent a hotel motel, rent a hotel motel, rent a hotel motel, rent an apartment, 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 rent an apartment for a year, 2 years, 3 years. If you have addictions, get yourself clean, whatever the case may be. This is your second chance. This is my redemption. And I had second chances myself. I had so many second chances. I almost died of COVID. COVID was like death, pestilence, and disease. I know it sounds like a hardcore metal song, but in February 2020, I fell ill until about mid-March, and I thought that was it for me as well. When I thought that was it, when I got viciously surprised attack, I went to the hospital, and I was like, a few days I was out with fell, hit my head, and dislocated my right arm, right shoulder. So I live with scars, I live with trauma, retrograde amnesia, and I have blackouts of memory. I have problems remembering my life prior to certain events. I have trouble remembering my life prior to certain events. So accessing memories. Although linguistic capabilities and language capabilities are not affected by memory, neither mathematical knowledge or mathematical skills. So language and mathematics are not affected. Language and mathematics are not affected. Language and mathematics are not affected. Memory. And I heard something on the news about that lion. That lion is 100% electric. So please, millionaires, try to get it going a little bit. Let's go for some financing. Dragon Army. They're in a financial bit difficulty, but they produce electric, and it's North American. I hope there's some resolution with them, because if they produce and make here in Quebec, here in North America, if they make, of course, in North America the electric, then I'm hoping that there could be a financial compromise which can be reached in order to salvage them. And maybe public-private partnership. Everything that I do, my dream is to call for a public-private partnership, and across the collective North American civilizational complex, and I gotta get that meditation, now across North America. Train conductors, trains, truckers. It's Monday, so I'm not gonna ask the strippers to give them a discount. I'm not gonna ask the strippers only on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I do that 3 days a week, But for the truckers, and if you look at this, it's got to be rebuilt. We got massive rebuilding to do in North America. I think this is more than 44 years, this bridge. But thank you nonetheless to the workers who build it, who build the railroads. It takes a little bit of that old school. Let's get that North American collective workers party rock and roll with it. North American collective workers party, the North American collective workers party rolling, and we got to get it for the east, west, north, south, and always got to meditate upon the workers now of the collective, the butchers, the bakers, the construction workers, and those who build this bridge like here, take some brains and muscle. And my DRT theory, the debt refusion theory, I believe is the only, I know to be the only solution for us to build and rebuild the infrastructure of the North American civilizational complex of North America, basically. As a philosopher, I call the great North American civilizational complex, of whence it is a privilege, They gotta give a salutation to the workers of the 20th century, Hydro-Quebec. My eye. Gotta give a salutation to the workers of Hydro-Quebec. That's why I'm able to do this video. I plugged it in and charged it, and it got charged, so I'm able to do this video now, marching, do some push-ups, some hawks, some workout loading on my YouTube channel, play that Rainbow Dragon rock and roll, been I think 5 years, and I created my own workout training program system. But before I go into that, of course, I do want to salute the Hydro-Quebec workers, LOV, from the past 20th century. Built 63 dams here, which are all hydroelectric. So if you come to Montreal, Quebec, and not only because our electricity from Quebec goes to 6 states, even now, all the way to Manhattan, a fifth, 20% of Manhattan, 20% of Manhattan. Oh, love me some of that red, my favorite color. That's a beauty. Hydro-Quebec Electricity goes all the way to Manhattan, so we got to meditate upon that because it's part of geopolitics one-on-one. There was some espionage going on. There was some espionage going on. And you know, I have my protocols and implementations. You know, we have to be a consensus, a North American census, North American audit and census, North American audit and census, a North American audit and census, you know, to see where the citizens, you know, and create the UE, and take out coast to coast, because we might have, with the World War III on the verge, we might have groups sponsored, individual, I wrote a document a few years ago, about 6-7 years ago, called this the North American Citizen Integrated Security Integration for the Defense and the Reconciliation with non-NATO aligned diasporas, with non-NATO aligned diaspora. It had a long, intellectual, sophisticated academic title, but basically what it said, of course, was that the need, of course, was for the need to have reconciliation with non-NATO aligned diaspora communities, you know, because NATO basically were 32 nation states in NATO, right? 32 countries, 32 nation states. Canada, US, part of NORAD, NATO. So my protocols, initiatives, and most of my documents, which I've written over the past 7 years, are in relation to that, you know. 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 In relation to that, so see, I focus on what's that number for, that's ASPE things. I was focusing on the numbers, classifying and seeing if it has some meaning, some purpose. FU12, you know, so that's, I'm weird. ASPEs, we're super weird. We have obsessive interest, but see, my obsessive interest, the Trinity, due to them, in the past 7 years, I lost more than between 80 and 93 pounds. I've also created a workout training program system. I do dance choreography with rock and roll on the daily, so dancing is my favorite sport. So I'm a fitness junkie, sports fanatic, and fitness, and I love geopolitics. Not that I love really, but there's a certain type of love, I guess, but it's an obsessive interest, and I am an independent theoretical analyst, geopolitical theoretical analyst, or analyst and theorist, however you want to intersect those. It comes up to the same meaning, that it's an analyzing and doing geopolitical theory 24/7. It's analyzing and doing geopolitical theory 24/7. It's analyzing and doing geopolitical theory 24/7 with yours truly. So that's what it is with yours, and that's what it is. And gonna go get it by the river. By the river. We're gonna go intersect. See, oh, now I know, because see, that was FU12 and this is FU13. So that means it's just counting them. So now a mystery has been solved. So basically that's been in use in order, of course, to classify. My brothers and sisters, we need to do a cleaning here. My brothers and sisters, we need to do a cleaning here. My brothers and sisters, we need to do a little bit of cleaning here. I like volunteering with different community organizations, you know, whatever the case may be, with different community organizations, you know, and that's how they're gonna go drilling on that, and that's how we gotta go intersect. Look at that beautiful flower. Anyways, back to what I was saying, of course, is we gotta get that DRT, the debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE, the universal exchange, the DRT for the creation of the UE, the debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE, the universal exchange in it. That's what we gotta be doing with that, the DRT, debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE. So I'm gonna now explain it. Oh, that jumped to 45 though, see? No, so there's a gap. Anyways, that's what it is with that, and that's what it is with the XYZ. So we gotta get it on the go, and I gotta be meditating on presenting the DRT, debt refusion theory. now is the case. But actually I'm going to wait until we cross here because there's going to be noise. So just to look at make an assessment of the infrastructure, because due to the fact that my DRT theory, the debt refusion theory, and the consequences, of course, of creating the universal exchange rate is going to enable us. It's going to enable us to rebuild. It is going to enable us to rebuild the infrastructure. I love you back. Love is also action. You want to hug, kisses, I got. But nonetheless, making an assessment from my, of course, geopolitical, aspie, artist, athlete perspective, mystic perspective, it needs to be rebuilt. Nonetheless, I got to send some salutations to those who built it in the 20th century, maybe 45 years ago. Maybe more than 45 years ago. It took some brains and muscle to build all this. It took so much brains and muscle to build all this, you know. Gotta salute the truckers on the road. They're going east, west, north, south. Well, that's going west, right? Now I'm going south, and now my camera is pointing a bit north. So there's east. That's the east. That's the south. That's the north, and that's the west, because the sun's setting at west, right? The sun rises in the east, sets in the west. That's a constant. My pop, the king, the sun. Butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors. Hey, those flipping some burgers, making some cheeseburgers. Look at all the traffic across North America. Looking at this, making an analysis of this infrastructure, the solidity of it. By my eye, of course, I'm not an expert, but I know a little bit of mathematics and the dynamics thereof, and I do would be the assessment that it needs to be rebuilt. As much of the North American infrastructure really needs to be rebuilt, and we need to get that DRT, debt refusion theory. I gotta give a salutation, LOV, to the trucker athletes. Love picking up the garbage, how they build, of course, these beautiful machines, and I always admire how they build the machines and how they got it going on that, and I always admire when they work, you know, for the public sanitation and getting on the go, and they're getting for my citizens here going on the left, and I think I'm gonna press the button here because I forgot to press it. I forgot. Yeah, I forgot to press the button, and gotta get it for the LOV, and my citizens there are smiling, they're happy, I'm happy, and safe, security, and joy is important. And, you know, all black, white, brown, all North Americans, all who come to join us, obviously, all come to join us, the great North American family, the great North American collective. I have great hope for the North American collective. And we're 40 plus million Canadians, 40 plus. We're more than 350 million in the USA. North Americans, Mexico is part of North America, Mexico. Haiti as well. Cuba, Dominican Republic is part of Mexico as well. Now I can pass. Of course, we're more than 666 million, right? More than 665, 666, more than 660 million. Even reaching close to 700s now. So I got to be meditating on that and looking at the assessment here. I would assess that it needs mass rebuilding. We have infrastructure which has been neglected for more than 44 years. Not all, but a lot. Which has been neglected for more than 44 years. Not all of it, and I got 7 seconds, so I'm gonna speed bump. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just in time, that jit. Sometimes that's how we gotta bounce it. Just in time, you know, sometimes that's how we gotta bounce this as I go, you know, and a little sprint here and there. See that I'm pointing the camera east now. Now south, now west, now north. So making an assessment, again, it really needs to be rebuilding. My DRT theory will enable us to mass rebuild the infrastructure of North America. We need to get that defense coast to coast, and yes, strength, vigor is necessary, strength, but also love and understanding, because we got to base some loving, some soft. It takes some heart, it takes some skills, it takes some action, but it also takes some philosophy, some doing. You know, we cannot base everything on just right or left. Sometimes it's the centrist. My centrism, albeit is, of course, universal revolutionary centrist. My centrism is revolutionary centrism in that the propositions that it espouses are based on public-private partnership. My centrism is universal revolutionary, but North American centrist. So we have to understand that I'm a North American, fundamentally philosopher, artist, and athlete. Fundamentally a North American artist and athlete and philosopher. I'm fundamentally a North American artist, philosopher, theoretical, political, geopolitical, theoretical analyst, and theorist. As much as I am for world peace, and I can be international or universal, I don't have the experience outside of Montreal Island, outside of North America. Many past lives, many incarnations as well, but those incarnations as past lives, sometimes was born a man, sometimes was born a woman, and now in the 21st century, 21st century, of course, they're not consequential in that consequential for what's happening now. November 18, going on the 6 days left of Scorpio until Saturday, Sunday. Meditating on, of course, what's happening now, transpiring. And if you want to get a little bit of coffee, you can go get a coffee there. And I'm not going to get a coffee now because I'm good without the coffee now at the moment. It's just, I'm a bit on the hungry side, so I'm going to have to have some bread actually with me. I just have bread. And if I can just take a little bit of chunks of bread here and there, I'm going to be good without having a headache, I guess. So this one, see? Fabriqué au Québec, 100% electric, 100% electric. So we can make this year. I heard about some financial strugglers they have. Of course, their stock market going down, but let's try to save it together. Let's try to save it. I dance, I rock and roll, and public-private partnership. We need more buses like that. Buses like that. A North American public-private partnership. A North American public-private partnership. We can build them here. See, for Canada, US. Canada, US, Canada, US. Sometimes initiatives we got to put aside partisanship. In certain initiatives we got to put aside partisanship. In certain initiatives we got to put aside partisanship. Such as this one, because it's electric. Lion needs to have a lion face on it. And then we fabricate it here, so it's part of the North American electric car manufacturing complex. We need to also support that. See another lion there. Lion, so see 100% electric. That's French, that's what it says. It's kind of similar, see? Electric. So lion is the same in French and in English, so we're not going to dispute that. 1984, there's a 000, but nonetheless, maybe we can save it. How they were built, how they were manufactured. Imagine the brains and muscle to build all this complex here, the bridge here. See, beautiful work, and sometimes it takes the brains and the muscle and the steel and a little bit of art in it, you know? Trying to make our infrastructure less bland, less gray. This one has a little bit of color. Take some green, some red, green for the DGA, Dancing Goddess Army. Red for the Dragon Army, DGA for the Dancing Goddess Army, you know. Adrian Hanna, Dragon that laying the foundations for the kingdom, Dancing Goddess for the empire, for the youth. For the North Americans Unite. Now I'm going to discuss the DRT as I go towards the infrastructure there, thinking about everything that's unfolding now across North America. In real time, let my children dance in the streets safely with the stars, left and right in a circle. Shake that. Head and that butt and out, toes and those fingers and those hips, and the nose and the ears. Shake up in the lips. So you go crazy with it. So you go crazy with it. Love our youth. So that is what it is, and here we are, you know, the North American complex. Gotta get that DRT, debt refusion theory, and we also gotta be meditating now and gonna discuss the DRT, debt refusion theory, the DRT. Debt refusion theory is the only solution, brothers and sisters. The motive, I say, that at least for Canada and the United States, my debt refusion theory, paradoxically, I gotta give a shout out to an acquaintance from the past who gifted me on Christmas Day 6 or 7 years ago, a book. It was a bit on the conspiratorial side, a bit on the conspiratorial side. He was a bit on the conspiratorial side, but he had real financial information about ancient Egypt, financial structure, ancient Greece, financial structure, ancient Sumer, ancient Babylon, ancient Rome, and all the way to modern ancient China, and present day Mao Zedong's People's Republic of China, and also up to today, with he touched upon the great financial crisis of 2007, 2010, 2007, 2010. What's called the Great Financial Crisis, 2007, 2010. The Great Financial Crisis, 2007, 2010. What's called the Great Financial Crisis, 2007, 2010, 2007, 2010. That Great Financial Crisis, or the Great Financial Crisis, that's called, also known as the Great Recession. Anyway, so that book, it was a bit on the conspiratorial, esoteric, occult esoteric a bit. Conspiratorial with esoteric occult, so I'm not into that, not into conspiracy theories much, but there are people who conspire, conspiracies happen, JFK assassination and other things, but not into the mainstream conspiracy theories, you know, because not all secret societies are bent for evil and domination in terms. It's just not certain things not to be profane, you know. Certain things don't need to be profane, certain things don't need to be profane, certain things don't need to be profaned. So back to what I was saying, the DRT now, what is the only solution in 2024, November 18th, ending on the last 6 days of the Scorpio month, full moon, last day. Where's the moon at? Goddess Judy, this is. And again, shout out to anonymous acquaintance who gifted me that book and deserves to be well off and millionaire, whatever. And I got a book, and that book, I've read it like seven times. And I've written on it, and I came with the DRT. It was inspired. It inspired me, the DRT, inspired me part of the DRT, the debt refusion theory. So why do I say that is the only solution? The fact that today, my brothers and sisters, we pay in interest. Listen to this. On the public debt, we pay, this you can check with the Bank of Canada, Tiff Mackler. We pay 46.5 billion in interest, debt servicing, 46.5 billion just in interest on the public debt. That's how much interest we pay. You can check with the Bank of Canada. We pay 46.5 billion. A billion is 1,000 million, right? A billion is 1,000 million. 1 billion is 1,000 million, okay? Has 9 zeros. In 2020, 2021, it was 20.3 billion. 20.3 billion, 20.3 billion, 20.3 billion. Double that would have been 40.6. It's not only double, it's more than double. It's 46.5. See, that person agrees. That person agrees. Said the DRT. There's no solution, brothers and sisters. The paradox. The yours truly who has scars, suffered, struggled, been depressed, been suicidal. Across Canada, 2017, got out of depression. I established the strongest with the car. With my fellow Canadians, I established the strongest with the car. With my fellow Canadians, I established the strongest with the car. With my fellow Canadians in 2017. And back since then, of course, that is what I did. And I established the strongest with the car with my fellow Canadians. Back in 2017, I established the strongest with the car. And back then, I came out, that event in my life changed my whole life. I got out of being depressed and suicidal. I got out of being depressed and suicidal. Look at the infrastructure, brothers and sisters. Still in his renewal across North America, lots of our infrastructure, bridges and highways looks like this. Lots of it. It's about to, I don't know if it's about to collapse, but it's possible. Look, we need the DRT. There's no solution. Listen, we pay 46.5 billion in interest. That's how much interest we pay on the public debt. You can argue all you want, left or right, but the fact remains, just check the numbers for yourself, the Bank of Canada. 46.5 billion on the debt servicing, paying the interest on the public debt of Canada. More than double. Sure, because of COVID, we had to implement protocols to sustain the population in a health emergency, and of course to give them money and to sustain them. And thank you, myself included. You know, I want to contribute first and foremost with a rock and roll and DRT on the table. The DRT, the debt refusion theory on the table. The debt refusion theory, it has to be implemented. Left, right, and center, labor unions. Sometimes with the right, sometimes with the left and the center. Now, it has to be implemented ASAP. It starts with me now today. So the debt refusion theory, DRT, you can argue all you want, but it's the only solution. The motive, the reason, is because due to the fact that we pay 46.5 billion in interest. 46.5 billion in interest, 46.5 billion in interest, 46.5 billion in interest, 46.5 billion in interest. That's how much interest we pay on the debt. Public debt of Canada. So this is the DRT explained. Keep in mind that my DRT theory, debt refusion theory, DRT, debt refusion theory, DRT, debt refusion theory also includes monetary integration theory. What is monetary integration theory? It is exactly the financial economic theory which was implemented in the European Union. So my DRT, standing for D, debt, R, refusion, T, theory, includes monetary integration theory, which is of course the financial theory which was done in the European Union. The Europeans implemented the monetary integration theory. So my theory, the DRT, includes that theory as well in it. So I'm going to now explain it as simple as I can, because due to my condition known as HFA, high functioning autism, Asperger's, I have a tendency at Aspies generally. I'm an individual Aspie, part of a tiny community of less than 1% of the population who have this neurological mental divergent condition known as Asperger's. And again, it's 0.44%, less than 1%, so less than 1 out of 300. We have a tendency, generally many Aspies, and it's part of a symptom, that we utilize too much academic, scholarly, intellectual verbosities and linguistics which are not composite to, of course, the discussion, the theories or the philosophies that we are discussing, or the solutions which we are calling to be implemented, that can be explained more simply. So I'm going to try to be as simple as I can. So the DRT, debt refusion theory, we're going to take all the public and the private debt. It's $10,000. So my debt, your debt, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. My debt, your debt, our debt, all the debt, public and private debt. My 10,000 included to the RBC, Royal Bank of Canada. So my debt, your debt, coast to coast. Due to the fact that the United States dollar still is the currency of choice for world trade, international business, global finance, tourism and import-export, we're going to convert all the public-private debt of Canada into US dollars. Into US dollars. So all the debt, public and private, will be the initial money supply for a new central bank, will be the initial money supply for a new central bank, will be the initial money supply for a new central bank. All the public and the private debt of Canada, my 10,000 included, to the Royal Bank of Canada, will be the initial money supply for a new central bank. So all the debt, my debt, your debt, our debt, coast to coast, all that money is going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank, for a new central bank, for a new central bank. All the debt, public and private debt, right? Public and private debt, including my 10,000, my 10,000, my $10,000. So my $10,000, your $10,000, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. All the debt converted to US dollars, converted to US dollars, converted to US dollars. And that's going to create a new currency. So this is now where the monetary integration theory, which they did in Europe, the European Union, the Germans got rid of the Deutsche Mark, the Italians got rid of the lira, they destroyed the French also, they're all central banks, they destroyed it, and they created in the 90s the ECB, the European Central Bank. The ECB, the European Central Bank, they created the ECB, the European Central Bank, the ECB, and they issued the euro now, the euro. So all the debt, public and private debt, will be the initial money supply converted to US dollars, because the United States dollar is the top currency. The initial money supply for this new currency, called which we're going to call the UE, U dot universal E dot exchange unit. U dot universal E dot exchange U dot unit. UE. U dot universal E dot exchange U dot UE. The universal exchange unit. U dot universal E dot exchange U dot unit. The UE. U dot universal E dot exchange U dot UE. The UE, the universal exchange unit. Based, of course, on biometrics, the hand, the voice, and biometric identifiers. That's what I'm calling on my Scorpio brother Bill Gates, Scorpio brother Joe Biden, Scorpio brother of BlackRock, Blackstone are two different financial institutions, but of course it's Larry Fink, another Scorpio. It could be Sagittariuses and Sagittarius, Pisces, and Libras and Cancers, and all the astrological signs, of course, Leos, and all the 12 plus the 13th one. But nonetheless, that's what we're gonna do. So that's what has to be done. Listen, we pay 46.5 billion in interest. Paradox, out of the curse of Asperger's and all my sufferings, my struggles, I put on the table the D, debt, R, refusion theory, the Dragons DRT, Rainbow Dragons, philosopher, artist, geopolitical, theoretical, analyst, and theorist, for the creation of a new currency based on the value of the US dollar, the DRT, for the creation of the UE. So all the private public debt will be the initial, converted to US dollars, will be the initial money supply for the new currency. The new money supply, the money circulation at the beginning will be the public and the private debt converted to US dollars, right? And we're going to set an interest rate level of 10% thereafter. It could be 3.33, 7.18, 4.18, 9.3, 6.1. 1.56. 10% maximum thereafter. After we do the DRT, we implement the DRT. The DRT, the debt refusion theory. The debt refusion theory, the debt refusion theory. The DRT, the debt refusion. You can argue all you want, but the public financial catastrophe now. We're now going to be able to pay firefighters, public nurses, public schools, public nurses, the aqueducts, the sewers. We're not going to be able to pay any of that. It's going to be a public collapse. That's why it takes a public-private partnership, the public and the private. It takes the balance, equilibrium. In my hand, sometimes they come cyclists there, and I don't want to be in the way because there's a bike path. So I love the bike. I love the cyclists. So I want to make it safe for them, and I want to keep on discussing the debt. So the debt refusion theory has to be implemented. Well, there's no way now out of this but my debt refusion theory. So there's no way. So once again, we're going to take all the public and the private debt, my 10,000 included, all the public and private debt, convert it to US dollars. That's going to be the initial money supply for this new bank. We're going to set an interest rate level of 10%. With that money, we're going to rebuild the infrastructure of collective North American complex of North America. We're going to rebuild the infrastructure. It's Canada first for the creation of the UE and the implementation of the DRT, debt refusion theory. But my brothers and sisters in the USA, my brothers and sisters in the USA as well. My brothers and sisters in the USA as well. My brothers and sisters in the USA. My brothers and sisters in the USA as well. Mexico, if they will. Canada, US first. Canada first, US, and then whoever wills across North America. Mexico, Haiti. Cuba is a paradox. Jamaica are part of North America, Dominican Republic. There are many North American countries, including the islands. The islands are part of the North American complex of North America, or what I call as a philosopher, the great North American civilizational complex, which is an emergent civilization, not totally divorced, but distinct from Western civilization. It has distinctions. The North America is an emergent. It started emerging around the end of the Second World War as an independent civilizational complex, meaning that it's a composite civilizational complex. It doesn't have a fully unified structure. You can say that Western civilization is mostly embodied in the EU, and of course the North American civilizational complex will be embodied in the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, also known as the North American Democratic Republic, the North American Republican Union, the North American Democratic Republican Union, whatever we call it, the name, like the EU, European Union. But the DRT has to be implemented, so all the debt, public and private, including my $10,000 to the RBC, converted to US dollars. That money is going to be the initial money supply for a central bank. So all that debt, public and private, is going to be the initial money supply for a new bank. And with all this money, at the beginning we're going to mass finance the building of infrastructure, bridges, roads, infrastructure, bridges. We're going to, of course, mass build tunnels for defense, 44 tunnels across North America in case of thermonuclear war. I envision 44 mass tunnel structure in case of thermonuclear war, mass tunnel structure in case of thermonuclear war. We're going to finance citizens to workout, train, exercise. My workout, train, exercise credits some MUIs for performing my workout, training, exercise, which is efficient, simple, and effective. It does not require equipment. It is simple, effective, and efficient. It does not require equipment, and I perform more than 372 online. I perform more than 372 online. And of course, we're going to finance citizens tourism, because I got out of being depressed and suicidal when I crossed Canada coast to coast. When I crossed Canada coast to coast. When I crossed Canada coast to coast, and the child was smiling there. It was a big smile. He saw me smiled, and that's the most important event of my day. That youth looking at me and smiling, and we kind of said to each other, of course, what are you smiling about? I'm smiling because I got the DRT, and it's for the youth, maybe for them, the defense. Us, we have our own whatever path, but it's for them, it's for the children, for the youth here in North America. Defense coast to coast, and mass finance citizens to travel coast to coast tourism, coast to coast in North America. I want to go see the dams, hydroelectric dams, the Bay James complex. I want to go see the Grand Canyon. There's lots of things I want to do, And I want to see the children joyous. That was a big smile, and like smile at me. It's like looking at me. What are you smiling about? I'm like, the DRT, because it's a paradox, but the DRT is the solution. What a paradox. This independent, I've struggled. Even today, I'm financially struggling. $10,000 in debt, but I'm joyous. That was the event of my day. That child make him a big smile. He smiled, I smiled, he smiled, I smiled, he smiled, I smiled. And you know, I've written some children's books, ages. It's mostly about civilization and nature. My books are a bit melodic with melodies, and I put a lot of physical exercise in my books, a little bit of push-ups and squats and hawks, and a little bit of gratitude, clapping for the firefighters, the butchers, the construction workers, stuff like that, you know, stuff like that. You know, with a little bit of, I guess, humor, a little bit of humor with it, and whatever the case may be. But I wasn't able to get the literary agent because of $500. I wasn't able to get the literary agent because of $500. I wasn't able to get the literary agent because of $500 because of I wasn't able to afford the $500, you know. But nonetheless, that is what it is, and here I am, you know, working out, training, exercising, and going on these toes, going on these toes, going on these toes, and it is meditation and grateful, thankful, rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee, and gotta get for that DRT, debt refusion tree, for the creation of the universal exchange. And the you with the you with the you, my brothers and sisters, is the only solution. We gotta get going with that, and we gotta implement it and support the dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, the DRT, debt refusion theory, which includes monetary integration theory, for the creation of the universal exchange. And we really have to do it. We really have to do it. We have to. There's no other way out of this where we are now. It's about to collapse. Financial collapse. Public financial collapse. Also private. The stock market could crash tomorrow. We can wake up to a financial crash this week. We can wake up to a financial crash this week. Wake up to a financial crash this week, but the public in more than double paying the interest on the public debt from 20.3 billion to 46.5. What's this? Firefighter services, nurses, doctors, the public works workers. So we're gonna put a lot of people back to work with that. We need a lot of infrastructure to rebuild. I'm gonna volunteer to do some action, cook, dance, rock and roll, wash some feet. You know, so all that good stuff. But it gotta be implemented. The DRT, debt refusion theory. The debt refusion theory. My debt refusion theory on the table. There's no other way. The dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. My trinity of theories. Debt refusion theory, the DRT, the CIT, citizen integration theory, and the democratic fusion theory, the DFT, for the creation of the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions. The dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, brothers and sisters. The dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. There's no other solution. That's the Democratic Republic, the North Americans unite call. The king is absent, brothers and sisters, Canadians, Quebecers. The king is absent. The king is absent. For years, it's just me, you, and us, you know. Just me, you, and us, me, and us. We need the Canadian Republic now. We need the Canadian Republic now. We need the Canadian Republic now. We need the True North Dragon Army and the Hawk, implementation of the Hawk defensive protocols and my defensive stratagem known as the Northern Scorpio, Operation Northern Scorpio, all security services, military, Canadian Armed Forces, mobilization of citizenry coast to coast, securing coast to coast, food, housing, transport primarily, and then the rest, north coast to coast, on Operation Northern Scorpio, what I call it, because there's a Northern Scorpio, basically goes Canada, United States, Mexico, is the only species of scorpion which comes all the way to Canada. It's called the Northern Scorpio. So we have a scorpion. It is the Scorpio season, but meaning that it also a real scorpion. The real scorpions, they're creepy crawling creatures that come all the way to Canada from Mexico. So they cross Mexico, Canada, United States. It's the only species that we have in Canada, called the Northern Scorpio. So I based some of that initiative based on my parallel to my theory stratagem for defense only. You got to be understood defense like that hardball ball, aka the black hardball. We're gonna play defense coast to coast, ocean to ocean like that hardball ball. We're gonna play defense coast to coast, ocean to ocean like that hardball ball. We're gonna play defense coast to coast, ocean to ocean like that hardball ball, aka the black hardball. Where my 49ers Lost to the Ravens. Please, NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB reduce the cost by 44.9% and distribute freely. Some tickets to the public workers, those who pick up the garbage, the compost, the recycling, you know. Public workers who change the aqueducts to pick up the garbage, public sanitation workers, workers in the public workers, sanitation workers, aka those who collect the garbage, the trash, making our neighborhoods, the streets more safe, more hygienic, you know, more hygienic. Give them some tickets, distribute them some tickets, the public workers. You already made your millions, your billions, you're good. You made your millions, it's not all about the money. 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 You know, so that's what it is with that, and that's what it is for the go, you know. So the DRT, CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, Democratic Fusion Theory, that trinity of theories for the creation of two complementary, covenant and cooperative institutions. Dragon Army, North American Citizen Integrated Defense Security Service only, Defense Security Service only, Defense Security Service only with the Dancing Goddess Army, DGA Dancing Goddess Army, Dancing Goddess Army, the Dancing Goddess Army, Dancing Goddess Army, the Dancing Goddess Army, the North American Integrated Dance League, North American Integrated Dance League. To dance for the environment, for pleasure. I love dancing, is my favorite sport. Dancing is my favorite sport, you know. I love dancing, and gotta do it for that, and we gotta do it for the now, you know. So that's what it is with that. Farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks. Hey, two people, two citizens wearing that red. Where's that green? Dragon Army's red. Dancing Goddess, pledge your allegiance to our family. Don't turn the other cheek, may I be avenged that sevenfold. Don't turn the other cheek, rock and roll, may I be avenged that sevenfold. I don't turn the other cheek, may I be avenged that sevenfold. Got that 50-50 rainbow dragon with it. Got some kisses and some hugs. May I be avenged that sevenfold. He's with it. Got the kisses. I like to say I don't want nobody nothing. Woke up. Here I am up in today. Rainbow dragon up in the say. Rainbow dragon up in the sleigh. Rainbow dragon up in the rock and roll for the day. We're taking on the XYZ on the holidays, and we're taking on the left and right and center for the XYZ, for the American province. So we gotta get it for that love, we gotta get it for the butchers, we gotta get it for the nurses, for the doctors, for the truckers on the road. We gotta get it for the no, we gotta get it for the bay, we gotta get it for the lay, for the day, for the day, for the slave, for the blay. For the North Americans, you know, today that they pray to the goddess that is scarlet, to the goddess that's the Scorpio scarlet. Do it black and white on rainbow, do it black and white on rainbow, do it black and white on rainbow, do it black and white on rainbow. We gotta get that XYZ, we gotta get that XYZ, we gotta get that XYZ. We got a human us on the left, we got a human up and left, we got a human up and left, up and left and up was left, up and left and up and left. For the left and for the right, for the left and for the side. For the butchers and the bakers, for the nurses and the truckers, for the switcher to that French, cause we in La Belle Province. For another singing song, for another sing along, for the warehouse workers, chopping up some warehouse workers, truckers and the butchers, those who deliver me some food, those who deliver me some good, 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 those who deliver me some spoon, some of the spoon up in the with it, some up in the with it, up in the black and white and rainbow kisses, from the priestess to the goddess, some a priestess from the goddess. Got a rainbow dragon with it. Switch it to that French cuisine, La Belle Province. And we gotta made it, although here we made it. 4D. Well, we got plenty of time. We're gonna go around the body, switch it to that French. We're in the Shin Canal. We're not gonna go all the way to the river, but we're already on the river here. So we're on the river here, right here, and we're gonna get it to the river, and we gotta get it to the transposition, and gotta give a salutations to the butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, public workers, to all those, of course, who are in the distribution and the production of food, all those, of course, who are in the production distribution of food now across the collective North American civilization complex, and all those, of course, involved in the production of food, distribution of food, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the firefighters, all those involved in that production, distribution of food now. Got to be a little bit of loving for them. Fast food workers, you know, flipping up some of those burgers, some cheeseburgers, hands, brains, and muscle. Firefighters. LOV to the firefighters of North America. LOV to the carpenters, the electricians, the plumbers, truckers on the road now delivering some of those cheeses, bacon, milk, lettuce across North America. Maybe some of that good milk, whatever the case may be. Some soda, some X, some Y, some Z from this independent ASPE. Got that Asperger's, HFA, artist, athlete, philosopher, geopolitical, theoretical, analyst, and theorist who's now here on the go for that go. No, we're gonna get it for the show, so that's what it is with that. And here we are. I'm gonna proposition a little bit of proposition with it. Proposition for the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. Proposition for the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, and the North American Collective Workers Party for the North American Collective Workers Party. How about we switch it to that French? You know it. We gotta. Cause where we at? We're la belle province, so we gotta switch it up to that French. Let's go! Once again, grateful, thankful, my rent's paid, electricity bill's paid. Got food and coffee, got the DRT with trillions of kisses on the table, trillions of kisses in the DRT, debt refusion theory. Got trillions of kisses in the DRT. The debt refusion theory on the table, got trillions of kisses. And the DRT, the debt refusion on the theory, is the only one solution for the North American Collective. North Americans unite, let's create that UE Universal Exchange Unit. Rebuild the infrastructure, mass finance, fitness, wellness. Mass finance, North American tourism for the youth. Health, wellness, fitness. Across North American Collective, dancing in the schools, and the dancing and all that curriculum, the North American centrist private partnership curriculum, the North American centrist private partnership curriculum, initiation of the wellness and the joy of fitness, joy of dancing, joy of XYZ, and we gotta get it on the love. So gotta switch it to that French now with a little bit of that rock and roll. Bakers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, going for the red up in the city. We gotta get up in the water. Here is the river. I'm not gonna go all the way to the corner, but you know you're gonna see a little bit of that water in Lachine Canal, historical development here. Part of big history of Quebec, Montreal, which enabled, of course, the building of the complex here of all North America. Of course, enabled so much work to be done here and to get it on the doing, and always love to exercise. It's always good. Get some sweat. Gonna be a few hours for myself and go. Keep it up. I always like to encourage your peers, encourage your close by family, whoever family. Oh, pledge your allegiance to our family, you know. Pledge your allegiance to our family. Pledge your allegiance to our family. Pledge your allegiance to our family. And I always love to see people working out, training, exercising. That's my part of my obsessive interest. Fitness. Dancing is my favorite sport. And their safety, their joy, their continuation on their fitness journey is some of my joy as well. So as we gotta put that DRT in practice, the mass finance citizens like that. Do a jog an hour. Do a bit of marathon, get some UEs. Do a marathon, get some UEs. Do a march of an hour, get 25 UEs. March an hour, get 25 UEs. March an hour, get 25 UEs. The UEs. We gotta create the universal exchange based on the US dollars. It's the only solution with the public and the private partnership, the dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, the satellite connected, intercepted, of course, all social media, all Instagram, Facebook, mobilization of the general citizenry, coast to ocean, defense, security service, with some hugs and some kisses. How did the Dragon Army channel the aggression? With kisses and hugs, Dragon Army channel the aggression. With kisses and hugs, Dragon Army channel the aggression. With kisses and hugs, Dragon Army channel the aggression with kisses and hugs. So we gotta get on the work, you know, and that's what it is with that. And we're gonna switch it to that French now, because we're in la belle province. So bienvenue. On est déjà à la Chine dans l'entraînement physique. Parti aujourd'hui pour un entraînement pour faire de l'entraînement. C'est quelque chose que moi-même, bien sûr, j'encourage les gens. Ça fait tellement du bien. Déjà, je me sens bien. Après avoir pris une marche de l'étirement, j'ai vu le coucher du soleil. C'est toujours une appréciation. Puis je continue à faire appel, bien sûr, au financement Je vais commencer puis dire ma gratitude aujourd'hui, le 18 novembre, bien sûr. On s'en va finir le Scorpion. On s'en va finir le mois du Scorpion. On s'en va finir le mois du Scorpion. Et bien sûr, c'est quelque chose qui m'intéresse. Bien sûr, l'entraînement physique, la géopolitique, l'entraînement physique, la géopolitique, l'entraînement physique, c'est quelque chose, bien sûr, qui m'intéresse moi-même avec l'entraînement. Puis la géopolitique, bien sûr, est mon intérêt obsessif en tant qu'aspi, artiste, athlète et analyste en géopolitique, bien sûr, en étant aspi, analyste et théoricien en géopolitique moi-même. C'est bien sûr quelque chose que je vis avec, et bien sûr, c'est des choses que moi-même je vis avec dans la vie. L'Asperger, encore une fois, ce n'est pas une maladie mentale, c'est une condition de neurodivergence, une condition de neurodivergence, une condition de neurodivergence, une condition de neurodivergence psychique. C'est pas une maladie mentale, ça même. C'est juste qu'on est une petite minorité des gens du monde, des citoyens du monde, du Québec, du Canada, je parle dans l'Amérique du Nord, premièrement, je suis nord-américain, canadien, québécois. C'est 0,44%, moins qu'1%, moins que la moitié d'un pourcentage qu'on l'Asperger, c'est l'autisme hautement fonctionnel, puis ça fait que j'ai des intérêts obsessifs. Puis dans ces intérêts-là, c'est 24 sur 24. Ma trinité d'intérêts obsessifs, c'est la géopolitique, l'entraînement physique, soit la danse. La danse, c'est mon sport préféré que je préfère. On la danse. C'est quelque chose de les mains dans les airs. On est dans la Chine, direct sur l'île de Montréal. Puis avec le rock'n'roll. L'entraînement physique, soit la danse, la géopolitique, puis le rock'n'roll. C'est ma trinité d'intérêts obsessifs. Puis c'est 24 sur 24. C'est constamment dans ma tête, dans mon travail en tant qu'artiste, athlète, philosophe et analyste et théoricien indépendant qui a prévu la situation géopolitique qui se manifeste aujourd'hui. J'ai la preuve pour ça, bien sûr, en 2019. J'ai prévu la situation, bien sûr, qui se déroule maintenant. Bien sûr, la situation qui se déroule maintenant, je l'ai prévu, bien sûr, en 2019. J'ai fait des analyses, bien sûr, profondes. Ces analyses, bien sûr, se sont basées sur plusieurs données, plusieurs événements qui ont fait dans le monde, bien sûr. Mais si je peux vous faire un résumé, là, c'est bien sûr vu à cause, j'ai conclu qu'à cause, premièrement, à cause que des régions, des civilisations n'ont pas été capables de résoudre leurs problèmes qui dataient du 20e siècle, d'une manière pacifique. Donc, j'ai prévu que ces conflits-là du 20e siècle, que ces régions, civilisations, pays, des nations, des États, n'ont pas été capables de résoudre de manière pacifique, il va en avoir une continuité dans le 21e siècle. À la Russie et l'Ukraine, c'est ça qui arrive. C'est des conflits qui datent de la guerre froide, qui a duré en tant que quasiment 45 ans, 44 ans et 9 mois. On va dire qu'on peut arrondir, là, proche de 45. Ça a duré longtemps, la guerre froide, entre 1947 et 1991. L'Ukraine et la Russie étaient dans un collectif, l'Union soviétique. C'était un pays avant. Un pays, une organisation politique, un empire soviétique, comment on veut l'appeler, l'USSR, l'Union socialiste des républiques socialistes, USSR, l'Union socialiste soviétique, les républiques, le RSS, l'Union soviétique, l'Union des républiques socialistes soviétiques. L'Union des républiques socialistes soviétiques. Tu sais, vous savez à quoi je fais référence, si vous ne savez pas, mais c'est ces pays-là, la Russie, mais pas juste la Russie, mais 15 autres pays qui étaient unis avec la Russie. Ça a commencé en Russie, la révolution d'octobre, ça faisait l'Afghanistan, c'est bien d'autres pays, pas l'Afghanistan, mais le Kazakhstan, le Tadjikistan, la Géorgie, l'Ukraine, la Biélorussie, la Moldavie, bien des pays faisaient partie de l'Union soviétique jusqu'en 91, en décembre le 26 décembre 91, ça a été la dissolution. Fait comme 33 ans. Ça en fait 33 ans, c'est 26 décembre. Ça en fait 33 ans, puis c'est 26 décembre. 25 décembre, ça en fait 33 ans. C'était comme le 25 décembre 91. 24, 25, 26, c'est 3 jours, ça a pris, genre, à peu près. Ça a commencé comme le 24, le 25, puis ça a fini officiellement le 26. Le 26, il n'y avait plus d'Union soviétique. Comme le 25, ça a fini, ça a signé les papiers, le 25, puis ça a fini ces choses-là. Enfin, l'Union socialiste soviétique. Bon, ben c'est ça qui arrive au Moyen-Orient aussi, c'est des conflits du 20e siècle. Qui arrive, potentiellement le Taïwan puis la Chine. C'est un autre conflit potentiel Taïwan puis la Chine, 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 Taïwan puis la Chine. L'Union soviétique. Fait que ces conflits, ils ont repris maintenant. Ils ont repris d'une manière sévère en plus. Sévère. C'est ça que j'avais prévu en 2019. Bah, c'est ça que je fais au quotidien. Hein. Je me réveille, c'est la géopolitique, l'analyse puis la théorie. Maintenant, c'est encore l'élection de Donald Trump. Il n'est pas encore officiellement président. Ben, il va y avoir certains protocoles, puis nous, que ça va nous toucher le plus, le commerce, l'économie, il va-tu avoir des tarifs encore comme l'aluminium et l'acier, comme dans le premier mandat? Il va-tu avoir, bien sûr, la crise des migrants, tu sais, les nouveaux arrivés, les chercheurs d'asile, ils vont se voir ça a-tu augmenté tellement? Parce qu'un de ses projets, ses plans, mais ça a été la déportation de ceux des sans-papiers. On peut-tu faire un compromis? Moi, je propose sur la table, premièrement, la théorie de la refusion de la dette. Je vous en parlais parce que c'est la seule et unique solution pour le Canada, premièrement. Parce que je suis québécois-canadien, je suis nord-américain, vous savez. Je suis philosophe, artiste, mystique. Des réincarnations, j'y crois. J'étais né homme, femme, des fois, 50-50. Maintenant, vous avez oublié ça de côté, laissez ça de côté. Même si j'étais né aux États-Unis 3 fois, une fois femme, 2 fois homme, j'ai servi dans l'armée des États-Unis entre 1776 et 1984. 2 fois, dans 156 ans à part, dans 2 guerres différentes. Bon, mes croyances spirituelles un peu bizarres, comme mon Asperger's, que je vis avec, ainsi que mes cicatrices, puis ayant survécu la COVID, laissons ça de côté. Le rock'n'roll, la géopolitique, j'ai prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant. J'ai quand même des solutions. La solution maintenant, Québécois, c'est la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Maintenant, je passe à la Chine. Je veux saluer les pompiers maintenant. Salutations aux pompiers. Les bouchers dans les boucheries, ceux qui font du fromage un peu, les hamburgers, font la livraison du fromage, des hamburgers. Ceux qui travaillent dans toutes l'Hydro-Québec, bâtir des centrales, c'est à cause de ça que je puisse faire cette vidéo avec l'électricité qui ne pollue pas, puis ça s'en va aux 5, 6 États, 6 États, bien sûr. 6 États, bien sûr, 6 États. Bien sûr, 6 États. Ça va jusqu'à l'île de Manhattan, jusqu'à l'île de Manhattan, tu sais. C'est fou, c'est penser à des choses comme ça. Puis le fait que j'ai prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant en 2019. En 2019. En octobre 2019. Je suis mort de la COVID en 2020. J'étais en train de renaître ici. En train de renaître de la COVID. En février 2020, j'ai tombé malade. Je pensais que j'allais mourir. Je suis mort sur l'île de Montréal de la COVID. Je suis en train de renaître. J'ai vécu mon propre trompe, mes cicatrices, je vis avec l'Asperger's, l'autisme hautement fonctionnel, mais ça reste principalement que j'ai prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant en 2019, basé sur des analyses en détail. Parce que mon intérêt obsessif, vu que j'ai l'autisme hautement fonctionnel, soit aussi nommé l'Asperger's, j'ai des intérêts obsessifs. Puis chez nous, c'est l'analyse, la théorie, la révision de la théorie, puis l'analyse en géopolitique, et 24/24, la géopolitique. Avec l'entraînement physique, la danse, puis le rock'n'roll, cette trinité, constamment. Géopolitique et entraînement physique, soit danse. La danse, c'est mon sport préféré, puis le rock'n'roll, c'est 24/24. Le rock'n'roll, la géopolitique, l'entraînement physique chez nous. L'entraînement physique, la danse, le rock'n'roll, la géopolitique. La géopolitique, la danse, l'entraînement physique. La géopolitique, la danse, l'entraînement physique. C'est 24/24. Quand je dors, non, mais... C'est ça l'Asperger, ça fait que j'ai des intérêts obsessifs. Je suis bizarre dans certaines communications sociales, j'ai certains rituels qui sont étranges, puis je suis étrange. Je fais partie d'une minorité de 1, même pas 1 sur 300, moins qu'1%, à peu près 0,44%. C'est même pas la moitié d'un pourcentage des citoyens qui l'ont. Fait que c'est vraiment une minorité, comme je fais partie de la minorité des LGBT qui ont été androgènes pansexuels. Laissez ça de côté. dans la géopolitique, j'ai prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant, puis j'ai une théorie sur la table qu'il faut faire. La théorie de la refusion de la dette, la théorie de la refusion de la dette, la TRD, la refusion de la dette, TRD, la refusion théorie de la dette. La théorie de la refusion de la dette. 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 En marchant maintenant vers voyant la rivière, puis méditant, parce que je suis toujours en méditation quand je fais mes marches, pour la défense. Seulement pour la défense. Mes initiatives sont défensives. Mes initiatives sont pour la renaissance, la sécurité de service, sécurité puis service, puis la défensive. Sécurité puis service, puis la défensive. Défense, ça. De côte à côte. Il faut comprendre ça. Parce que je suis nord-américain, canadien, québécois, québécois, canadien, nord-américain. C'est chez nous ici. Personnellement, je me considère pas en étant un membre d'une diaspora. C'est chez nous, dans cette ville, dans une autre. Puis je souhaite la paix mondiale, mais ça reste que je suis nord-américain. Puis philosophe nord-américain, philosophe, artiste nord-américain, analyste et théoricien en géopolitique nord-américain. Puis je suis pour l'Union d'Amérique du Nord dans un complexe comme l'Union européenne. Puis la création de l'unité d'échange universelle parallèlement à l'euro. Puis maintenant que j'ai introduit ça, je vais discuter de la TRD, puis je vais juste faire une petite note que, encore une fois, en 2019, en octobre, j'ai prévu, je marque 5 ans depuis que j'ai prévu la situation actuelle, j'ai la preuve, j'ai la vidéo en ligne. J'ai la vidéo en ligne. Et bien sûr, c'est des choses comme ça qu'il faut que je fasse moi-même, puis c'est des choses comme ça que je fasse moi-même, bien sûr. Et c'est des choses comme ça que je fais moi-même, bien sûr. C'est la théorie en géopolitique, et l'entraînement physique, et l'entraînement physique, bien sûr. Donc, il faut prendre toute la théorie, puis faire l'implémentation de la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, la TRD. Théorie, R, refusion de la dette. Donc, c'est quoi la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette? C'est une théorie financière, il faut faire l'implémentation, puis je dois dire que c'est un paradoxe. Grâce à j'ai eu comme un cadeau, c'était à Noël à le jour des fêtes, c'est comme le 25 décembre que j'ai eu. J'ai ouvert le 25 ou le 24 décembre, un livre, là, comme 6-7, là, 6 ou 7, en 2017 ou 2018. En 2017 ou 2018, quelque chose comme ça. Ça fait un couple d'années, puis je l'ai lu comme 7 fois, j'ai écrit dessus, puis ça m'a inspiré la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Puis pourquoi que je dis que c'est la seule et unique théorie, là? Ma TRD, que je mets sur la table avec des bisous, des milliards de bisous, puis avec bien du rock'n'roll, là. La TRD, théorie R, refusion de la dette, c'est la seule et unique solution en ce moment, vu ou fait, c'est un fait qu'on paye aujourd'hui. Là. Écoutez ça, on paye 46,5 milliards d'intérêts sur la dette publique, je répète. On paye 46,5 milliards sur la dette publique. On paye 46,5 milliards sur la dette publique. 46,5 milliards. Imaginez-vous, là. Ça, c'est le montant d'intérêt seulement qu'on paye sur la dette publique. Là. C'est pas toute la dette, ça, c'est seulement l'intérêt. Vous pouvez voir ces chiffres-là vous-même avec le TIF Macler de la Banque du Canada. C'est rendu quand ça a doublé, là, plus que le double. Là. C'est plus que le double. En février 2020-2021, c'était 20,3 milliards. 20,3 milliards. 1 milliard 109 zéros, ça. 1 milliard 109 zéros. Puis qu'il faut vous tenir compte, bien sûr, qu'un milliard 109 zéros. 1 milliard 109 zéros, 1 milliard 109 zéros. Et bien sûr, il faut faire l'implémentation, bien sûr. Fait que 20,3. Bien sûr, 20,3 milliards, c'est 20 000. Bien sûr. 20 000, tu sais. 20 000. 20,3 milliards. Ça, c'est 20,3 milliards, c'était en 2020-2021. C'est rendu à 46,5 milliards. 46,5 milliards. C'est rendu à 46,5 milliards. 46,5 milliards. Là. C'est double, hein? 20,3, ça aurait été 20,3 fois 2, ça aurait été 40,6. 40,6. Ça aurait été le double. C'est plus que le double combien qu'on paye sur la dette publique. Là. C'est une catastrophe, c'est une urgence. On ne peut pas soutenir ça. Il ne va plus avoir des finances publiques. Il n'y aura plus de services de pompiers. Il y aura plus... Merci à ceux qui vont ramasser les poubelles aujourd'hui en passant. Merci à ceux qui vont ramasser les poubelles devant chez nous à Notre-Dame-de-Grâce en passant. Merci à ceux qui vont changer les vidanges de chez nous, prendre les poubelles, merci, salutations. C'est des services publics. Écoutez, ça a plus que doublé en 3 ans. C'est sûr qu'à cause de la COVID, je l'ai eu la COVID, c'était comme la mort, la pestilence, la maladie. Je pensais que j'allais mourir. Je suis mort sur l'île de Montréal, direct dans ma grotte. Rien que je veux retourner en arrière, je vis pour aujourd'hui avec l'espoir pour demain. Mais bien sûr, en avoir l'espoir pour demain, que je vis aujourd'hui avec l'espoir pour demain, là, il faut faire la TRD pour aujourd'hui, pour demain. On ne peut pas soutenir ça, c'est une urgence. Ça a plus que doublé en 3 ans, de 20,3 milliards. Regardez ça, les chiffres là, que je vous dis, c'est avec la Banque centrale, Tiff Macler, la Banque du Canada, c'est la dette publique canadienne. Juste l'intérêt qu'on paye, c'est 20 points. C'est rendu, ça a plus que doublé, là. C'est plus que le double en 3 ans. De 20,3 fois 2, c'est 46,5. C'est rendu à 46,5 cette année qu'on va payer d'intérêt seulement, l'intérêt sur la dette publique. On ne peut pas soutenir ça, c'est une catastrophe, c'est à veille d'être un désastre. C'est un paradoxe, bien sûr, que je puisse vous mettre sur la table la solution qui est la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, théorie de la refusion de la dette, théorie de la refusion de la dette. C'est TRD, théorie, refusion de la dette. La TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Bien sûr, c'est ça qu'il faut faire, c'est ça qu'il faut faire, c'est ça qu'il faut faire. La théorie de la refusion de la dette. C'est la seule et unique solution. Puis je mets sur la table avec des bijoux et des châtaignes. Puis il faut faire l'implémentation le tout de suite possible, le plus tôt possible. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution, il n'y a pas d'autre solution, il n'y a pas d'autre solution. Bien sûr. Fait qu'il faut faire l'implémentation de la théorie de la dette. Oups. La TRD. Il faut que je fasse attention maintenant parce que je t'avais de traverser sur le pont. Puis pas de lumière, là, mais. Je suis allé sur la droite, je garde la droite comme à la conduite par principe, je garde la droite comme à la conduite par principe. Puis bien sûr, là, je m'en vais là-dessus. Fait que c'est des choses comme ça qu'il faut que je fasse, bien sûr. Et voilà. Et voilà. Et voilà. Et bien sûr, et voilà. Donc, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, TRD, théorie, refusion de la dette. Et je vous l'explique le plus simplement possible, vu que j'ai l'autisme hautement fonctionnel sur l'Asperger's. Des fois, les espions utilisent des mots trop intellectuels, sophistiqués, académiques pour se prononcer sur un fait qui peut être plus simple. Fait que le plus simple possible, simplement pour que je puisse le présenter puis l'expliquer, la théorie de la refusion de la dette, TRD, qui est la seule et unique solution. Encore une fois, pourquoi je dis ça? Mais vu qu'on paye 46,5 milliards d'intérêts, puis vu encore un fait qu'en 3 ans, c'est l'intérêt qu'on paye sur la dette publique canadienne, c'est allé de 20,3 milliards à 46,5. C'est plus que le double en 3 ans. C'est plus que le double en 3 ans. Fait que c'est pas personnel, mais il faut juste faire l'implémentation. Fait qu'il n'y a pas d'autre solution. Là. Il n'y a pas de solution. La théorie de la refusion de la dette. Fait que la TRD, théorie de la dette, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Il faut prendre l'implémentation. TRD, théorie, refusion de la dette. Théorie de la refusion de la dette. Fait que toute la TRD implémentation, bien sûr, toute la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Fait qu'on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, toute la dette publique-privée, toute la dette publique-privée. On va en faire ensemble, bien sûr, Toute la dette publique-privée, toute la dette publique-privée, bien sûr. Toute la dette publique-privée. On va faire ensemble, bien sûr, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Toute la dette publique-privée, on va prendre ensemble. Fait que tout ça, toute la dette publique ainsi que privée, on va faire ensemble. Toute la dette publique-privée, incluant mon 10 000, on doit prendre toute la dette. Puis encore une fois, tenez compte que ma TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire. La théorie d'intégration monétaire, c'est exactement ce qu'ils ont fait de l'implémentation dans la communauté européenne. Les Européens ont laissé faire leur euro, ils ont laissé faire leur Deutschmark, ils ont détruit leur banque centrale indépendante, l'Allemagne, la France, l'Italie. Ils ont détruit leur ancienne monnaie, ils ont détruit leur ancienne banque centrale. Fait que MATRD, ça contient en dedans d'elle la théorie d'intégration monétaire, qui est la théorie financière, qui ont fait l'implémentation les Européens en Europe. Fait que ça contient cette théorie. Ma théorie, TRD, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Tenez compte, il faut savoir ça, que ma TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Puis je vais juste aller prendre un petit coup, juste jeter un petit coup d'œil là-bas, parce que je vois qu'ils ont mis les... j'aime ça les lumières, j'aime ça les lumières. Ça, le rouge, c'est ma couleur préférée, rouge, bleu, blanc, j'aime ça l'arc-en-ciel. Pas juste à cause que je fais partie de la communauté LGBTQ, androgyne, pansexuel, mais c'est parce que, bien sûr, j'adore les couleurs vives, j'adore les couleurs vives, j'adore les couleurs vives. Ah, un chat. Oh, c'est ça, même le chat dit la TRD, il faut faire l'implémentation, mais bien sûr, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, ça c'est la lumière ici. Wow. C'est beau, je trouve, c'est beau. C'est beau, je trouve ça beau. En tout cas, la TRD, maintenant je vous discute la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, c'est la seule et unique solution. Pourquoi je dis ça encore une fois? C'est que dû au fait qu'on paye 46,5 milliards. 1 milliard 109 zéros, c'est 46 000 millions ça, qu'on paye sur la dette publique. D'intérêt sur la dette publique, ça a plus que doublé en 3 ans. Là. À cause de la COVID, c'est sûr, on a dû implémenter des protocoles pour soutenir la population dans une situation d'urgence sanitaire, puis de santé, puis de tout ça, c'est sûr. Mais c'est fait qu'on paye cette année, on va payer 46,5 milliards. Fait que ma TRD, paradoxe, c'est la solution. Fait que je vous l'explique le plus simplement possible. On va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, mon 10 000 à la Banque royale du Canada, mon 10 000, ton 10 000, de côte à côte. Toute cette dette publique-privée, on va faire la conversion dans la devise des États-Unis. Parce que le dollar des États-Unis, c'est encore la monnaie de change, de choix pour la finance globale, pour le tourisme, l'import-l'export, et bien sûr le système global de finances, puis bien sûr toutes les choses qui ont à faire avec le commerce global, ainsi que le tourisme, bien sûr. C'est des choses comme ça qu'il faut qu'on fasse moi-même. Puis, bien sûr, en pensant à ça, on va faire la conversion de toute la dette publique-privée. On va faire la conversion de toute la dette publique-privée en devise des États-Unis. Dans la devise des États-Unis. Toute la dette publique-privée. Fait que mon 10 000, ton 10 000, toute la dette publique-privée, bien, ça ne peut pas être juste d'une personne, là. C'est tout, quand je dis tout, ça inclut bien sûr les individus citoyens. Là. C'est pas juste moi, c'est pas personnel, tu sais. Fait que toute la dette publique-privée du collectif. C'est pas une chose personnelle, ça s'applique à tous les gens qui habitent, tu sais. C'est pour tous les gens qui habitent. Les Québécois, Québécoises, les États-Unis, mais après, le Canada premièrement, là, mais les États-Unis aussi. Fait que toute la dette publique-privée, mon 10 000, ton 10 000, bien sûr, hein, toute la dette publique-privée, de toute la dette, mon 10 000, ton 10 000, tout que ça soit toute la dette publique-privée, mon 10 000, ton 10 000, on va faire ensemble la conversion, bien sûr, des États-Unis, de l'argent dans la devise des États-Unis. Fait que toute la dette publique-privée ramassée avec mon 10 000, ton 10 000, on va ramasser ensemble toute cette dette-là. On va faire la conversion dans la devise des États-Unis. Fait que ça va être dans des milliards, ça va être un chiffre énorme. Toute la dette publique-privée convertie dans la devise des États-Unis, ça va être un chiffre énorme. On va faire la conversion dans la devise des États-Unis, toute la dette publique-privée. Canada premièrement, mais s'ils veulent, on va mettre ensemble avec les États-Unis, le Mexique, bien sûr, d'autres pays. L'Amérique du Nord, pour le collectif nord-américain. Les pays de l'Amérique du Nord, je parle. Je parle pour le complexe nord-américain, bien sûr. Ça peut être transatlantique, mais premièrement ici. Fait que toute cette dette-là, ça va être l'argent converti dans la devise des États-Unis. Ça va être l'argent initial pour la création d'une nouvelle monnaie, qu'on va appeler UI. U point unité, E point échange, U point universel. UI. U point unité, E point échange, U point universel. Le UI, en anglais, c'est pareil, on ne s'ostinera pas. UI, 1 UI, 2 UI, 3 UI. Ça va être basé sur la valeur. Sur la valeur du dollar des États-Unis. Basé sur la valeur du dollar des États-Unis. UI. U point unité, A point échange, U point universel. Le UI. U point unité, E point échange universel. UI. Basé sur la valeur du dollar des États-Unis. un UI, 2 UI, que ça soit. On va mettre un taux d'intérêt de 10% maximum après ça. Ça peut être en bas, 3,33, 7,18, 4,18, 9,3, 6,1. Ça peut être en bas de 10 par principe. Ça va pouvoir être en bas de 10, pas plus que 10 par exemple. En bas de 10, oui, pas plus que 10. Par principe. Après ça, le taux d'intérêt après. Après qu'on fasse l'implémentation, le taux d'intérêt, ça va être maximum de 10%. Avec cet argent-là, on va pouvoir rebâtir l'infrastructure du collectif nord-américain, de l'Amérique du Nord, bâtir plus de centrales de l'Hydro-Québec, bâtir 44 tunnels, pour pouvoir survivre dans un cas d'une guerre nucléaire, pour pouvoir survivre dans un cas d'une guerre nucléaire, pour pouvoir survivre dans le cas d'une guerre nucléaire, survivre dans le cas d'une guerre nucléaire. C'est un de mes protocoles que j'ai écrit dans une couple d'années, mais il faut faire l'implémentation. Fait que tout cet argent-là, on va le mettre. Toute la dette publique-privée, ça a fondé une nouvelle banque. Ça a été de l'argent initial en circulation. Le UI, pour la création de UI. U point unité, point échange, U point universel. UI, on va mettre un taux d'intérêt de 10%. Ça va être l'UI, basé sur la devise des États-Unis. Avec tout cet argent-là, on va pouvoir rebâtir l'infrastructure, financer les gens au tourisme, parce que moi, ça m'a fait sortir de ma dépression quand j'ai traversé le Canada en 2017. En 2017, je marque 5 ans de cette célébration. J'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte, ça va être un réveil. J'ai établi un esprit de corps solide avec le Québec, le Canada, l'Amérique du Nord. Puis j'ai vu, waouh, Banff, quand je suis arrivé à Banff, j'ai dit, waouh, c'est quel... Wow, c'était comme moi. Puis moi, ça m'a fait sortir de la dépression. Fait qu'on va pouvoir financer l'entraînement physique aussi. Financer l'entraînement physique, financer les gens à l'entraînement physique, financer mon entraînement que j'ai créé avec des UI. Bon, le UI, ça va avoir la valeur des 10 $ des États-Unis, mais ça va être de la nouvelle monnaie. UI. U point unité et point échange universel. Comme qu'ils ont fait en Europe. Ils n'ont plus de Deutschmark, ils n'ont plus de francs, ils n'ont plus de lira en Italie, tout ça. Ils ont créé une nouvelle monnaie, les Européens, l'euro. On va créer l'UI, UI. En Amérique du Nord, on va se relancer, rebâtir l'infrastructure, bâtir des centrales d'Hydro-Québec. On va pouvoir bâtir les centrales d'Hydro-Québec, bâtir tout ça. Rebâtir. Des ponts. Financer les gens à faire l'entraînement physique, financer les gens à faire du sport, bâtir des tunnels. Fonder le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse, le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse, le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse, bâtir plus de parcs, mettre plus de couleurs comme ça, embellir nos villes, traverser la rue bien comme il faut, regarder de la gauche à droite, parce que des fois les freins fonctionnent mal, tourner la tête de gauche à droite, les freins peuvent mal fonctionner, le citoyen qui conduit, conductrice peuvent peser sur le frein à place, peser sur le frein à place. Puis on est lundi. Je m'en vais chez nous, je retourne chez nous, je voulais faire un entraînement, fait que je l'ai fait avec l'étirement, puis je vais faire un coup de pompe. Puis la gratitude, j'ai payé mon loyer, j'ai payé ma facture d'électricité, puis j'ai du café petit thé, puis je l'ai attardé sur la table. C'est la seule et unique solution. Vous pouvez vous ostiner tant que vous voudrez, là. La gauche, la droite du centre, vous ostinez-vous, mais vous ne pouvez pas vous ostiner parce qu'on paye 46,5 milliards d'intérêts. Fait que les chiffres, les mathématiques, ça en vont vers une catastrophe. C'est une catastrophe, c'est une urgence. On va pas pouvoir, l'année prochaine, même ça va commencer, on va plus pouvoir payer les pompiers, ceux qui changent les acteurs, tous les services publics, là. Les services publics. C'est ça qu'on paie avec le public. La dette, l'intérêt qu'on paye sur la dette publique, c'est rendu que c'est le double en 3 ans. Plus que le double en 3 ans. En 2020-2021, c'était 20,3 milliards. C'est rendu qu'on paye d'intérêt 46,5 milliards. 1 milliard 109 zéro. Ben, c'est un paradoxe, là. C'est un paradoxe que j'ai la solution. Un paradoxe, mais c'est la solution. Vous pouvez vous ostiner de la gauche à droite, là. À cause de l'Asperger's, bien sûr. À cause de l'Asperger's, bien sûr. C'est ça, mon neurodivergence. Je suis obsédé par la géopolitique. Puis quand on fait des études en géopolitique, il faut savoir tenir compte, bien sûr, de la dette publique, des finances publiques. C'est des choses comme ça qu'il faut qu'on fasse. Et c'est des choses, bien sûr, qu'il faut qu'on fasse. C'est des choses comme ça qu'il faut qu'on fasse. Faut que je tourne la tête de la gauche à droite. Faut que je tourne la tête de la gauche à droite. Il faut que je tourne la tête de la gauche à droite. Quand je traverse la rue, bien sûr. Quand je traverse la rue. Pour ne pas avoir, bien sûr, de... Parce que des fois, tu sais, le citoyen peut, bien sûr, peut peser sur l'accélérateur, bien sûr. Peut peser sur l'accélérateur. Peut peser sur l'accélérateur. En place de peser sur le frein. Les freins peuvent mal fonctionner et des accidents, ça peut arriver. Hein. Je pense que les autos et tout ça, il faut faire attention sur la route, tu sais. Parce que c'est possible, ça arrive. Hein. Un corbeau, des corbeaux gros, dans la fenêtre. Un corbeau dans la fenêtre, un corbeau dans la fenêtre. Flip, 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 flip. Un corbeau dans la fenêtre. Corbeau sur vous, tournez pas votre tête. Faites attention dans le public, vous êtes dans le public, hein, vous allez faire vos commissions, vous allez faire de l'épicerie, vous allez faire tout ça, jovial, pas jovial, ou bonne humeur, pas de bonne humeur. Riche, pauvre, riche, pauvre, riche, pauvre. Arc-en-ciel ou noir et blanc, ou arc-en-ciel comme moi, noir et blanc ou arc-en-ciel comme moi, mais... Corbeau, tu sais, tomber, puis traverser, hein, faut être prudent, tu sais. Fait que la TRD de la refusion de la dette, c'est la seule et unique solution, bien sûr, c'est la seule et unique solution, bien sûr. C'est la seule et unique solution, bien sûr, pour la solution d'aujourd'hui, bien sûr. C'est la solution, mais il faut faire l'implémentation. Il faut faire l'implémentation. Ça en fait penser à un scénario de comédie. En tout cas, fait que la TRD, c'est la seule et unique solution pour en faire, bien sûr. C'est pour ça que quand vous allez sur la route, il faut regarder quand même la gauche à droite, la gauche à droite, la gauche à droite. Il faut faire des... Il faut avoir la prudence, tu sais. Parce que, tu sais, je sais pas, il y a des voitures, tu sais, en passe, puis... Faut juste être prudent, tu sais, parce que des fois, c'est les freins, tu sais. Les freins peuvent mal fonctionner, là. Je suis peut-être un peu parano, un peu, mais je l'ai vu arriver, puis je sais que, tu sais, ces temps, le monde sont stressés, bien sûr. Il y a du stress. Moi, je suis juste stressé financièrement aujourd'hui. Je suis de bonne humeur, je me sens bien maintenant parce que j'ai fait mon entraînement physique, mais j'ai du stress financier seulement, mais je suis quand même prudent dans le public. C'est quand même des gros chars, mais en calculant le volume, bien sûr, c'est calculant le volume. Et bien sûr, c'est des choses qu'il faut qu'on fasse, bien sûr, dans la direction qu'on se dirige. Puis il faut être prudent, c'est tout. C'est comme ici, j'ai 9 secondes, mais il faut être prudent dans la vie. Il reste 5 secondes, 4 secondes, mais juste ça. Même dans certains coins, c'est plus sécuritaire que d'autres. Je ne suis pas pour être trop paranoïaque là-dessus, mais c'est quand même quelque chose que je conseille les gens. Je conseille les gens de le faire. Je conseille les gens de le faire parce qu'il y a des camions, des gros camions qui passent. Des fois, les freins fonctionnent mal. Pas pour me répéter à cause de l'Asperger, mais c'est ça avec l'Asperger aussi. Il faut que je sois conscient de travailler sur mes symptômes parce qu'il n'y a pas de médicaments. C'est juste savoir que j'ai cette neurodivergence, puis je suis différent, puis je pense à des choses bien sûr un peu étranges, mais c'est quand même aussi des solutions pratiques. Puis dans les aspects, nous, on a quand même des interactions sociales un peu bizarres, là, mais dans un point de vue de nos forces, ça dépend c'est quoi, parce que moi, je suis un individu aspi que mon intérêt obsessif, c'est la géopolitique. Puis c'est la géopolitique 24/24, mais c'est en détail, puis avec des analyses, puis du va-et-vient, puis des revisions, tout ça, c'est toujours constamment dans la tête. Même maintenant, quand je marche, je pense bien sûr au point de vue défensif, puis qu'est-ce qui s'est passé aujourd'hui. Puis hier aussi avec l'annonce de Biden qui a donné le droit à l'Ukraine d'utiliser des missiles, qui a eu l'avertissement de Poutine, que Poutine a dit l'avertissement il y a 5 mois, il dit qu'il ne faut pas utiliser ces armes-là, puis là, Poutine a pris un point sévère, puis c'est en point de peut-être utiliser des armes nucléaires. C'est possible, c'est possible. On n'a jamais vécu une situation de guerre comme on vit maintenant, mais puis de finances publiques parallèlement, qu'on paye 46,6 milliards d'intérêts, qu'on paye 46,5 milliards d'intérêts, qu'on paye 46,5 milliards d'intérêts. On n'a jamais vécu ça avant. C'est nouveau, comme qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant, c'est nouveau. Et bien sûr, c'est ça qu'il faut faire, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Fait qu'on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, toute la dette publique-privée, mon 10 000, ton 10 000, de côte à côte, d'océan à océan. Cet argent-là de la dette publique-privée, on va faire la conversion dans la devise des États-Unis. On va faire Canada premièrement, États-Unis après, s'ils veulent le Mexique, que ça soit d'autres pays, là, Jamaïque, Haïti, Cuba. Ben, Cuba, c'est un paradoxe, mais d'autres pays aussi. De l'Amérique du Nord, je parle. Mais Canada premièrement, États-Unis, puis après tous ceux qui veulent l'Amérique du Nord, mais ça peut être aussi en théorie transatlantique, là, mais je parle pour le Canada premièrement. Fait que toute cette dette-là, ça va faire convertir dans la devise des États-Unis, ça va être l'argent initial pour la fondation d'une nouvelle banque, comme qu'ils ont fait en Europe. C'est pour ça que j'ai dit au début que ma TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Ma TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Ma TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Fait que ma TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, la TRD de votre ça inclut la théorie d'intégration monétaire. C'est ça qu'ils ont fait l'implémentation dans l'Europe, la communauté européenne. C'est ça qu'ils ont fait en Europe. On va traverser par là. Fait que ma TRD, ça contient la théorie. Si je tourne la tête de la gauche à droite 3 fois, gauche à droite, gauche à droite, gauche à droite, je passe sécure, puis je discute de la TRD. TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, c'est la seule et unique solution. Fait que toute cette dette-là, ça a fondé l'argent initial d'une nouvelle banque. Qu'on va faire, on va mettre en circulation une nouvelle monnaie, puis l'argent initial, ça va être toute la dette publique-privée. Pour cette nouvelle monnaie basée sur la valeur du dollar des États-Unis. Pour ça, j'ai dit qu'on fait la conversion de toute la dette publique-privée dans la devise des États-Unis, le dollar des États-Unis. Fait qu'on va créer l'UI. UI. En anglais, c'est pareil, donc on ne s'estimera pas. U point unité, E point échange, U point universel. U point unité, E point échange, U point universel. U point unité, E point échange, U point universel. UI. U point unité, E point échange, U point universel. UI. L'unité d'échange universel. L'unité d'échange universel. UI. L'unité d'échange universel. Oui, avec cet argent-là, on va pouvoir refaire l'infrastructure, bâtir l'infrastructure de l'Amérique du Nord, bâtir des tunnels, bâtir pour la défense, bâtir le temple de la déesse, bâtir le temple de la déesse, oublier avec le colisée du peuple impérial, le colisée du peuple impérial, fait qu'on va pouvoir faire bien des choses. C'est pas juste pour moi-même, c'est pour moi, pour nous, pour vous tous. C'est ça, d'accord avec ça, bien sûr. C'est ça qu'il faut faire, il faut faire la TRD, fait que là, j'arrête avec ça. Fait que la TRD pour la création de Louis. Fait que mon entraînement continue. Il me reste encore 1h30 jusqu'à chez nous, ici, de la Chine. Fait que peut-être 2 heures, 2 heures. Là. On va voir. Fait que je finis avec du rock'n'roll bilingue. La TRD, c'est la seule solution. Conduisez, puis let's go pour le Rainbow Rock'n'Roll Dragon. Let's go on the feet. You know that, you know how we do it. For the black and white and rainbow, with our French we built prevention. For the truckers and the butchers and the bakers, and the nurses and the doctors, and those who be on those firefighters. You know that the dog be barking. I know that the dog be barking. For the lovers, for the butchers, for the bakers, for the nurses, for those on the firefighters and those truckers. Gotta see it for the love, gotta see it for the doves. Gotta see it for the scrubs. Scrub and clean and crab and lean. Crab and clean and love and lean. Crab and lean and let and leave. Crumb up in the bench machine. Crab and be machine. I ain't selfish, I ain't selfless. Gotta be in half with it. For the Rainbow Dragon, sing it. Hey, construction workers on steel toes. Play a Rambo, rainbow on the floor. Gotta kisses and some hugs. Hey, gotta kisses and some hugs. Gotta lips and some lugs. Gotta freak some free some love. Gotta freak some free some doves. Gotta freeze and free some love. Gotta kiss it on the free and for the brave and for the late. Late that call that ass be rock and roll. I am obsessed about rock and roll and I do rock and roll. With that ass be rock and roll and Je fais du rock'n'roll, c'est un de mes intérêts obsessifs, donc c'est du rock'n'roll, là, 24 sur 24, la géopolitique, l'entraînement physique, let's go. Hey, 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 les mains dans les airs, ben, je vois déjà des lumières, les lumières de décembre qui s'en viennent, regarde, oh, ben des couleurs comme je les aime. Je les aime sans gêne, hein? Regarde, on est dans la Chine, puis je passe un zoom, que j'adore les couleurs, kaboom, regarde, ça France, ensemble, d'autres lumières que j'aime bien, je vois mon ombre qui a une lumière, il doit en avoir une ombre du ciel, du ciment, du béton, du fer, travailleurs, public, construction, de l'acière, l'affaire acière, quelle affaire le ciel, c'est du rock'n'roll mon cher, quelle affaire le ciel, c'est du rock'n'roll mon cher. Eh oui, regarde, de la gauche, de la droite, dans le centre, comme Céline bilingue, comme mon premier ministre, tabou, ça bouge, les fesses, les jeunes puis les aînés, ça danse ensemble dans un cercle pour la belle promesse de la déesse qui donnait la lune. C'est le Scorpio, hey, regarde, bouche, de la bouge, ça bouge, les billets, ça danse, j'en ai du chorégraphe, on est direct dans la belle province, puis ça chante, ça avance, les lumières donnent ton, hey, regarde, une chanson ferraille, chemin de fer, qui passe. Hein? Une autre, regardez les lumières, puis ça danse, puis les chars, ça illumine, ça passe de la gauche à droite, puis je m'en vais vers chez nous, puis on danse. Avec des pompes, citoyennes, puis citoyennes, coup d'éclair, puis ça danse sans gêne, regarde. Gauche, droite, à gauche, dans le centre. In the center, in the east, in the center, in the beast, for the freeze, for the train conductor, freeze, those burgers on the freeze, those some burgers on the lead. You know who ready to be.